About 60% of my pussy is in this jar. The rest I put in this show. On July 31st, 2023, I got a labiaplasty. A labiaplasty, or as I call it, my circumcision, is a cosmetic procedure in which some or all of the inner labia is removed. It's entirely cosmetic. Now, I wouldn't say that my family is like anti-plastic surgery, because both my mom and my sister got nose jobs before they turned 18, but in my head that's not really like plastic surgery, but I think that's just because like in Jewish communities, rhinoplasties are just kind of treated as like going blonde. You know, it's like, oh my god, look, it just brightens up your face. Who'd you go to? But I decided early on that I wasn't gonna get like a nose job. But I remember when I told my mom that I wanted to get a nose piercing, and she said, okay, but that means you can't get it done. As if those two are the same at all insurance-wise. But I got a labiaplasty, and the experience of getting this voluntary cosmetic procedure was interesting. I walk into this waiting room in Chicago, and it's just covered with like pictures of tall, skinny, beautiful women. All of the furniture is either like white and fluffy or made of glass. Like I can see the receptionist's feet through her desk. Shai actually, I get that a lot. I like my name a lot. I think it's really pretty. It means, in Hebrew it means gift, but in English it means that anytime I introduce myself to someone, they somehow just magically turn into a comedian. Like, oh, you're Shai? Don't be. I don't know what they think is gonna happen. Like some Netflix executive is gonna pop out of the bushes and like give them a special. Shai. Sorry, no, I get that a lot, that's okay. And she gives me this form to fill out that's just like, you know, name, sex, and all the medical stuff. I should know the answers to this. So, my name is Shai. Here's the thing. I think it's so cool that we get to like have options, that you can choose a gender. That's amazing. But I think we can all agree that the options are not great. And I have decision-making anxiety. There are basically 3 options, right? There's like awful, annoying, and oh yeah. Don't get weird because you all know exactly which ones are which. But I know I'm not a man because I've never punched a wall. I don't care about the Roman Empire. Like how great was it if they're all dead now? And I was assigned female at birth, which is sort of like being the designated driver for life. Like you just have to take care of everybody, you don't get to have as much fun. But like women aren't even trusted to drive, so. And I tried out the non-binary identity, but I just don't know if it's for me personally, just because I'm not uncomfortable with people seeing me and calling me a woman. I don't identify as trans. I don't want to change my body. Okay, not anymore. We'll get to that. So, okay, Shai Bardin, and then I check F on the sex box. So I basically kind of reluctantly settled on woman. But for some reason, woman feels a little bit different than F. Like, the label woman kind of rubs me the wrong way, but I guess that is like a big part of womanhood, is being rubbed the wrong way. Sorry. No, that's the thing. Like, women apologize for everything, right? And non-binary people are like unapologetic. Men will apologize, but it's like, I'm sorry you freaked out. I just want to apologize like a normal amount without there being like a flag for it. So, all right, Shai Bardin, F. Are you sexually active? Now, I worked very hard to make that answer yes, as soon as possible. I decided in middle school that I was going to be a slut. Now, my definition of slut now, a little bit different, but in middle school that just meant that I would like never say no to a boy's advances. Like, I would be cool and aloof and nonchalant nonchalant and just down for whatever. But like no boys advanced. So for years, nobody advanced. I once, in 8th grade, tried to make a sex pact with a boy, and he said no. We were on a field trip. We were sitting next to each other on the bus, and I was like, hey, so like, if we're both still virgins by the time we're 16, a perfectly normal age to still be a virgin. And he said no, which is devastating if you've ever heard of 8th grade boys. They fuck soup. They fuck soup. And I was a girl, which is like soup with hair. Arms and legs and a laptop full of grotesque Hunger Games fan fiction. But so Shai Bardin, F, sexually active, yes. And in order to try and be a slut, I tried to have my first kiss at a bat mitzvah. Now, I love bar mitzvah season. Like, I loved it so much, and it's because in 7th grade, I was at a Jewish private middle school. So there was a party every single weekend. It was awesome. It was the best. And it just became this like fabulous routine where like you show up to temple Saturday morning in like a knee-length floral dress with like a cardigan on top because you're not a slut, ballet flats, blisters. And you sit in temple and you watch like Adam or Itai or Rachel or Layla or Rachel, like one of your classmates stands before God and distant cousins and gives a book report that sounds a little something like this. Merriam-Webster defines field in a plethora of ways, such as an open land area free of woods and buildings, an area of enclosed land used for cultivation and pasture, or the place where a battle is fought. When Cain killed his brother Abel in a field, a battle was surely fought, as Abel likely did not want to perish. But he did, with a knife. God asked Cain where Abel was, and Cain said, "Am I my brother's keeper?" He wasn't, but he should have been. You're sitting there, you like lean over to your mom and you go, "Hey, do we have to like go and get her a necklace, or is this like a donate to an elephant sanctuary kind of thing?" How many elephants do you think have been saved from poaching because like some Jewish girl had enough necklaces? Love activism. But yeah, so this can of Campbell's tried to have her first kiss at a bat mitzvah, and here's how it went. He was a foreign exchange student from Peru, which was like perfect because if it didn't work out, it was really awkward. It didn't matter because I would never see him again. So I lock in, and I'm like a few Shirley Temples in. So I'm feeling good, and we are dancing and chatting, and the DJ's like, "Oh yeah, somebody's getting a giant teddy bear that I don't know how it's gonna fit in the car." We had one DJ that was like the guy in the Bay Area that you would get for your like bar mitzvahs. Like, he was just like the person that you hired. Recently, I learned about his passing, and my mom broke the news to me, so she obviously handled it really, really gently. "Shai, you know your bar mitzvah DJ? He did all the bar mitzvah. Yeah, we get those like big, like inflated, like those big teddy bears, and it's like, I don't even know how they fit in the car, you know, what if they block the back window? I mean, I don't want to think about that, that's not safe. You know him? He killed himself." Why do moms break news like that? Like someone bought a rice cooker, or like someone got an air fryer, or like Costco stopped selling a brand of tortellini. Like, can you believe? So I lock in, we're dancing, and eventually we need to go outside to get some air. Now this bar mitzvah was at the Oshman Family Jewish Community Center. So we are passing like olive trees and empty Hebrew classrooms and like a bunch of plaques with last names on them. and like you can't tell if they're honoring like donors or Holocaust victims. It's a toss-up, right? Like neither want to be forgotten. And so I turned to him and I closed my eyes first. Big mistake. And I just kind of like launched my head and knocked my head against his, and then I immediately walk away. And this is not like a short walk back to the dance floor. So he's like kind of watching me like shuffle away, kind of limping because of all the goddamn blisters on my feet. Fuck ballet flats, okay? Fuck ballet flats. Who came up with those? Who walked into a room and was like, hey, you know how it feels to walk barefoot? What if we had a shoe that had the same amount of arch support, but your feet also stank, and your heel was getting like sliced open with a tiny like cross-cut saw? We'll call them ballet flats, because bows. You know how those ballerinas love to suffer. So, I, looking back, was not really stoked about becoming a woman, because that's what like bat mitzvahs were all about. Also, every bat mitzvah had like a theme. Like I remember the horse girl Addie, which is a very apt name given how many she would take in high school. And you are what you eat. Her theme was like rodeo. It was so cool. You get like cowboy hats, and all the girls had to wear jeans because there was a mechanical bull. To this day, coolest party I've ever been to. I had what I consider to be the sluttiest bat mitzvah theme. It was black light. And so you show up wearing like white or neon or whatever, you know, your cardigan's off because you're a slut. And you're like, oh my god, that's crazy, like, are my teeth glowing? This is just like a laser tag. Ari, why do your pants look like that? So, looking back, I was not the most stoked about becoming a woman. Because like, I know that in general, I'm in good company, but sometimes when I hear an adult female say, I'm just a girl, part of me, and I know this is wrong, part of me wants them not to vote. I think I'm a misogynist the same way you call yourself an alcoholic. Like, even when you're taking the right steps, you're always in recovery. But according to God, I was a 12-year-old woman, right? So, okay, Shai Bardin, sexually active, yes. When was the first day of your last period? Do any Fs in this room ever know the answer to that? Like, I just lie. I just straight up lie, because I remember when my first period was, because it was 2 days after my bat mitzvah. Hashem has great timing. I was home alone, and I get this brand new feeling in my stomach, and I go to the bathroom, and I became a woman in the health class sense, you know? Like gender steak, everything's a spectrum, but there was blood in the toilet. And so, there's this like period after your first period where you feel like you're in this secret club, right? Like you have this like lingo, like it's like, hey, like, am I good? Am I good? But then, that excitement goes away, and then your period doesn't. And my period was getting worse and worse and worse. By the time I was 14, I would miss days of school every single month because of the pain. I would vomit from the cramping. I was a huge bitch. I don't know if I can necessarily attribute that to my period. Maybe just being 14. But so freshman year of high school, I get put on the pill. And I felt like such a slut, you guys. Like, oh my god, like I was like, I'm on the pill, but like for my period. And then when high school ends, I switched to an IUD, which is like the birth control equivalent of taking off the cardigan. And I got the Mirena IUD. They've all got these names. You guys know about this? There's Mirena, Liletta, Kylina, Skyla. These are all real names for a plastic T-shaped device that goes into your uterus. It sounds like your pussy's getting gentrified. So 17, and I'm sitting in the stirrups and everything, and the gynecologist says it'll just be a pinch followed by some cramping. You know how doctors do that? Lie. I screamed. Like, imagine screaming, it was like that. I was screaming. It was the worst pain I ever felt in my life. When she was done, it wouldn't go away. She very briefly leaves the room, I assume to talk to her best friend, the hunter from Bambi. And I'm in the fetal position. And this is COVID, so I'm wearing a mask. And without even thinking, I lower my mask and I just vomit everywhere. It is on the floor, it is on the walls, it is on the ultrasound machine. And of course, right then she comes back. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I threw up. And I'm sorry, I know this is a really big inconvenience for you, and you guys are essential workers, and I had tuna for lunch, and I'm so sorry. But now I have Morena, which is great. She's great. She opened up a Pilates studio. She's demolishing historic fallopian tube to open more condos. I love her, she's great. But most importantly, she allowed me to kind of realize my dreams of becoming a slut. But there was just one problem, and it's in that jar. So Shai Bardin, F, it's actually not two, yes. First day of my last period, I want to say Wednesday, it was raining. And yes, it's okay if I die, bye. And then the doctor's ready to see me. And the surgeon kind of asked me what the problem is. But I suddenly get very shy. Even though I've done stand-up about this. At Northwestern, in the same room where my history teacher has taught me about what happened. I have spoken to 300 students and said things like, my pussy's like the sun, the mental health benefits are outstanding, but you shouldn't look directly at it. If my pussy wore a two-piece swimsuit to the beach, people would call it brave. Knock knock. Who's there? My labia minora, and it's ugly. Stuff like that. And so, but I didn't say all of that, I just kind of told her I started being insecure about my labia since middle school, and that's true. I remember when it started, it was when I got my first thong. So, 7th grade, my best friend and I are at the mall, and we go to a Victoria's Secret, which is a store where you can learn what your bra size isn't. Now, we were not allowed to have sexy underwear yet. So we both got matching thongs, we paid for them in cash, and we agreed that we would hand wash them so that our moms wouldn't find them in the laundry. It was a whole sting operation, and we felt so cool. We would call each other the night before hey, I'm gonna wear mine tomorrow, are you gonna wear yours? And then we would show up the next day looking the same. Nothing visibly different about us at all, but we knew. But this thong was when I first noticed this problem. Now Victoria's Secret thongs barely cover an eyebrow. So it was very uncomfortable. It was not working. And this would be the first of many bodily insecurities for me. And gym class didn't help, So if you don't know, the girls' locker room is a place where if you don't know what's wrong with your body, don't worry. All of your friends will come together and help you figure it out. And so we're just in there getting ready to do girl push-ups and walk the mile. And then just the chorus of self-deprecation starts, oh my god, my stomach's so big, oh my god, I have so much bad stretch marks, and I'm yeah, I have cellulite, and they're Shai, shut the fuck up, your ass is so big, of course it's gonna have cellulite. Besides, guys are just gonna be so excited to get laid that they're not even gonna care. Which, very bleak take on body neutrality. And so I started looking at my body as this numbers game of what canceled what out. And I was okay, I have stretch marks bad, but I have a big butt, good. But is there makeup for your butt? Is there butt makeup? What if I hook up with somebody and then the butt makeup gets all over the sheets and then they think I pooped myself and they're oh my god, Shai pooped herself and also she has stretch marks? What the heck? I'm gonna go tell everybody and then no one's gonna be her friend and she'll never get into college. So I don't tell the surgeon all of that, but I give her the gist. And it wasn't just thongs. Fuck leggings. Fuck leggings. I know some of you are thinking they're so comfortable. You know what I'm not comfortable with? Walking around knowing everybody can see exactly exactly what I have going on below the belt. Every fucking dimple in my ass, like putting cling wrap on oatmeal, like just everything is out there. Like yes, the leggings material might feel better, but at least denim can keep a fucking secret. So fuck leggings. And another issue, because in the locker room, people were talking about their butts and their stomachs and their boobs, but like, you couldn't just casually bring up your vulva. So I didn't know if other people had the same problem. And this was also when I started watching porn every day compulsively for years. So I was seeing a lot of vaginas on the internet, and none of them looked like mine. And this was also, first of all, this is why representation matters in cinema. This is also why children should not be given cell phones until they're 15. But something I realized, in the cinema that I was watching, is that most of these films had an all-female cast. They passed the Bechdel test. I'm bisexual. And like, I lived in California, so that wasn't a big deal. But it added this new wrinkle to my insecurities, where I was like, okay, I've been reassured that guys won't notice these things, but I also like girls. And I'm a girl, and I notice those things. So are girls gonna see that? Or girls, like, what if I hook up with a girl and then she's like, oh my god, like, why does Shai have such a weird one? I'm gonna go tell everybody that she has a weird one and then she'll never get into college. But I didn't say all of that. I was just like, I've been insecure about my labia minora since middle school, so I'd like to fix that. And this surgeon, we'll call her Dr. French because she was French. That weirdly made me trust her more. Like, because the French people, they are beautiful, but stinky. So I trusted her to deal with vulvas for that reason. And so, she has me undress and kind of show her the problem areas. And so I get undressed and I sit in this chair and I put my legs in the stirrups and she takes one look at my clam and goes, oh yes, I see. Rude. Wait for my cue. And so then I get dressed and I sort of pick up my ego. And then she pulls out this iPad, this giant iPad, and starts showing me these before and after pictures. These headless women, vulva after vulva after vulva. And it was good to see her work, but she was also giving me enough backstory for them to be people, and that was weird. She was like, oh yes, this woman, she has a very large here, and she also had a clitoral hood reduction. Maybe you also are getting this. And yes, this woman, she came all the way from China, and she was so ashamed that she was a virgin at 27. That was insane to hear. It's I have been insecure about that area for so long, but I tried to have this liberated attitude towards sex as if I didn't. So I was ashamed, but I had sex anyway. So my first sexual experience was in high school with a girl. I was in a community production of The Addams Family. Hang on. She was Morticia. I was Grandma Addams. Can I make it any more obvious? And so we're at the cast party, but this is the second secret cast party after the big cast party where all of the leads just hang out, which I didn't know was a thing. But this was my first time being a lead because I was in Addams, so I counted. And we're at Lucas Beinecke's house. It's awesome. He's got this huge house, it's a pool, got a jacuzzi, so obviously we're in the jacuzzi and obviously we're playing Truth or Dare. Now, earlier at the other cast party, the one for optics, I asked Morticia a very standard theater kid question, which is hey, if you had to make out with anyone in the cast, who'd it be? And she goes, I'm straight, but probably you. So we're all in the jacuzzi playing Truth or Dare, and you know, Lurch has just drank pool water. Not in there. And Morticia gets dared to kiss everybody on the face. Like she could decide where, which looking back, totally a setup. But so she goes around, she kisses like Gomez on the forehead, Wednesday on the cheek, not Lurch. And then she gets to me, and she pauses. It's like, where do you want me to? I mean, I don't know, so whatever you want, like what? I mean, you get to decide. Yeah, but like, do you have like a preference? Like, no, I don't have like a preference or whatever. I mean, like, if you wanted to, you could do it. And then she kisses me on the mouth. And it was my first successful kiss. And that night, we totally did it. But every experience since then was not so magical. I look back on that experience very fondly, but not every experience since then was great. Like I kept trying to be this slut, but like a very cautious, anxiety-riddled, safe slut. Because I like wanted to be sexually liberated. Like I wanted to do that so badly, but I also hated receiving oral. So I would literally just have to let them go down on me long enough for me to feel like a feminist, and then just make them stop. So like, I was hooking up with this one girl, actually, and she would give me these compliments. By the way, because this whole time, I was just really afraid of the dreaded Arby's joke. You guys know the Arby's joke, we have the meats. It is mocking vulvas that look like roast beef sandwiches. And when I first heard this joke, I was mortified because do you have any idea how humiliating it is as a Jew to have your culture, deli meats, weaponized against you? Couldn't handle it. So I was hooking up with this one girl sexually, and she would give me these compliments that made me very suspicious. Like, once I removed my shirt to expose my breasts, she looks at them and she goes, wow, they're so proportionate to your body. Which I feel she could have embellished a little bit. That'd be like saying, wow, what a normal physique. You have a face. What a statistically average butthole. She also once went down on me and she looked up and very, very like earnestly said, you have a really beautiful vagina. And I would have preferred an Arby's joke. I wanted to scream at her, like, stop lying! No, it's not, okay? It's not beautiful. It's beautiful the way a pug is cute, okay? Like, it's ugly and that's okay. You can, you know, like a sexually liberated feminist. You know how they talk? There's another gentleman who asked me this question that I'll never forget. I'll never forget this question that he asked me. He asked me, did you bust? To my face, he asked me this question. No, sir. No, I did not bust. I arrived at your apartment at 10 p.m. It is now 10:23. You unironically used the word bust. No. Also, bust is just so not what a female orgasm is. Like, how to describe it? You guys know that scene in Oppenheimer when, like, they're doing the countdown to the bomb, and they're all, like, waiting, and they're like, okay, it's gonna happen, like, everyone told us, like, it's gonna happen right now. And then, it's supposed to be happening, but there's no sound. And you're, like, sitting in the AMC, like, is something wrong? Like, did it start yet? Or, like, what is it, like, what's the, and then boom. That's what it's like. Women don't bust. They become death destroyer of worlds. But so I kept sort of mining these sexual experiences for stand-up content, you know? This is true, because I realized that, like, as a young person, I was like, sex is the coolest thing I've done. Right. So, my very first joke, actually, when I was 16, when I was at my first open mic, I did this until I turned 18, was, hi, I'm Shai, and I want to be a comedian, but I actually do think I have what it takes to make it in this industry, because I have what everybody wants, which is underage pussy. I said that for 2 years, until I was no longer underage. So like from 18 to 20, I realized that, these were sort of the only life experiences that I could really talk about. But with every new sexual partner, I felt like I was revealing a terrible secret to them. And so I kept seeking validation through sex, even though it made me feel terrible. The summer before my labiaplasty, so I'm still rocking the original model. I'm swiping through Tinder, as one does when they don't practice self-love. And I match with this guy, and we start chatting, and his bio says, Palestinian-American photographer. And when he asks me where I'm from, I pause, because I'm an Israeli-American comedian. I don't know if you guys have been keeping up with the news, but there is a very fraught history between photographers and comedians. and the photography-comedian conflict is really, really complicated. It's there's always been shooting and bombing and college students pretending to be experts. So you asked me where I'm from, and so I paused, because here's the thing. I've never felt particularly Israeli, because I moved to the States after first grade. I have no memory of it. And I continue to be in very Jewish communities since then, so I was not very Israeli compared to the people around me, my peers or my teachers, so my friends would tell me to stop trying to act so Israeli when I was trying to speak Hebrew outside of our mandatory Hebrew class. Every summer when I came back, it got harder and harder to talk to my cousins. So eventually I just pronounced hummus like hummus because I didn't want to sound obnoxious. But I don't say all of that because it's Tinder, so I just respond I'm from Israel, but I moved around, I moved to Bay Area and then New York, and then I decide to send a risky text. Now, some of you might be familiar with risky texts, Maybe you've had a crush on this girl since the 3rd grade, and you've always sat with her in math class, but you've never talked to her, but she uses apple-scented shampoo, and since then it became your favorite fruit, and now it's finally senior year of high school, prom's coming up, and so you text her hey, I have a crush on you. That's one example. A risky text. I send the Palestinian-American photographer a risky text, and it reads, hey, I don't know if this counts as reparations, but you can occupy my territory. And then I was fuck, did I just commit a hate crime? I guess when that happens. And so I wait, and I'm sweating, and I'm waiting, and I see those 3 dots appear, and disappear, and appear, and disappear, until finally, you're the only Israeli good I wouldn't boycott. Thank God, he's cool. All right, we're in the clear. And this is sort of my longer hookup story, but we only saw each other for a week. But it was really interesting to talk to him, because we had very different backgrounds, and we did not agree on everything, because again, this is so complicated. But I realized that some things are simple. He was a person. I was a person. He was horny. I was horny. He asked me if I came. Did you bust? I lied. They're just these universal truths, that transcend borders, dotted or otherwise. But I don't say all of that to the surgeon. We just kind of have our consultation, and we schedule the surgery, and, I asked her about keeping it, which I was afraid it was going to be very awkward. I was hey, so I'm a performance artist, kind of, and I might use it for homework or something, could I keep it? And she was yes, you want it fresh or in a solution? In a solution. Why are you so cool with this? She's like, oh yes, well, some of our clients, they are artists, and if they get their breast implants removed, they want to keep those. I was like, okay. So the surgery's scheduled, and it felt a little silly prepping for it because it was just like preparing for any other surgery. Like I had to like not eat and like be in the gown and everything, and I was like, calm down, it's just a trim. But so I get this surgery, and my mom flew over to take care of me, which was so sweet and also so mortifying. It's one of the weirder ways I've connected with my mother. This being one of them. Hi, Mom. And so I have to be like basically just lying down for a week. And it's day 3, and I'm icing my clam, and I get a text notification from Dr. French, and I didn't realize that she had taken before and after pictures. So I had this experience that I wouldn't wish on anyone. I received my own unsolicited nudes. Which was insane. And I looked at myself from this angle that I had never seen before. And my first thought was, oh, okay. And my second thought was, damn, I'm cheeked up. But so I did it, and I kept it, and here it is. And actually picking it up was interesting because I couldn't just like get it immediately. So like a couple weeks later, I drive back to the hospital to go and get it. And I'm like, I'm shown to like this lab place, and there's just these 2 women working there. And I walk up and I'm like, hi, my name is Shai Bardin, sexually active, yes. I'm here to pick up my labia. And they're like, oh, okay. So they go looking for it, and they get it out, and I'm like, oh, this is fresh. I wanted it in a solution. And they're like, okay, we can put some formalin in it. Sorry, this has just never happened before. So I don't really know what to do. So they had me like sign something and pick it up, and it's in this giant bag with like biohazard written on it. And they were like, are you just gonna walk out like that? And I was like, oh, I don't have a bag. And they're like, I have an empty Whole Foods bag if you want to use that. So I was like, okay. So I walk out of the hospital with this like brown paper Whole Foods bag with my pussy in it, and here she is.
Wow.
And even though it's sitting in a jar, I'm still insecure about it. I'm still ashamed that I ever looked like that, which is crazy. Like I feel like I somehow admitted defeat. Like this was an easier option than like self-love. I recently saw a like Instagram advertisement for this underwear company. I think it was called Cherry or something. And their whole thing was they make, women's underwear, like sexy underwear, but just with a wider gusset. And I thought, like, if that was available when I was 12, would I have ever thought that there was a problem? Because it covers more than an eyebrow. But like, whatever, it's just a trim, right? So, I don't know if this makes me a bad feminist. I just am a little more comfortable now. But like, I do feel like I will always have weird pussy energy. How do you know if somebody has weird pussy energy? For starters, they might write a whole show about their weird pussy. And they also give great head. I don't want to talk about my sex life anymore, which is weird. I thought that, fixing this insecurity would make me more okay with casual sex, but it's done the opposite. I've only been with one person since getting this done. And I'm with an awesome man who, in our first month of dating, drew like 10 versions of the same pastel drawing of my eyes, trying to get them just right. And that never happened to me before. And so, but also in a way, I've only been with one person. So like, unlike all these sluts. Hey, I'm Shai, I'm a misogynist. But I don't want to talk about my sex life anymore. My sex life finally feels personal. My private parts finally feel private, even though I have been showing you 60% of my private parts for like an hour. A little ironic. But I still don't endorse labiaplasties. Like, I did use this in a few performance art pieces for homework. and one of my classmates went up to me afterwards and like asked me about it. Like, hey, asked for details. And I answered honestly, but I didn't want her to get one, which is weird. Like, this is my biggest kind of contradiction, is that I don't think plastic surgery should exist as an industry. But I also am so happy with the results of my cosmetic surgery, and it changed my life. And accepting that has allowed me to accept other contradictions within myself. I'm not binary, but I'm not non-binary. I am a performance studies student at Northwestern University, and I'm from Israel. And both of those things are just facts about me, not political statements. I don't have a cock, but I just know it's huge. And BB can choke on it. I am a comedian, and I'm female, but I'm not a female comedian. My pussy is not a punchline. It's not gonna solve the war in Gaza. It's not going to like go and advocate for like sedation during IUD insertions. It's not my only source of power or my only source of pleasure. And that feels like sexual liberation. That I don't have to like mine my own genitals for content. Like, my pussy finally feels like my business. My small, woman-owned business.